I do have both extremes of that in my creativity, where especially during my master's, I realized it like the most, in that whenever I was writing certain pieces, there were some that I had just like a structure, and I was like, oh, let me take a whole bunch of numbers and convert them into things, and that will generate rhythms. And I did it with like 12-tone serialism, but I applied it to rhythm and the instruments that would be played. And it was like this whole technical process. And the creative part of that was more of choosing what instruments, like what the parameters were for these things. But then I just figured out the numbers. I just have this crazy weird spreadsheet that just looks like a bunch of numbers and letters. But yeah, it makes sense eventually, and turned into music. And the weird part about that, though, is that, that piece of music and 12-tone serialism, if you've ever listened to it, is not very fun to listen to. It's not great.
It's very difficult, very challenging.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, so this is great.
Well, really? Okay. Yeah. Do you want to explain it? You probably have a better...
Sure. Yeah. So...
Schoenberg? Is that... Yeah. That really popularized it? Yeah. I just want to make sure I had the name right.
So we have 12 tones in our scales system that we use, and keys normally just use 7 of them, but in 12-tone serialism, they were like, what if no note was more important than another note? We know what do or one is, and we've been doing it for too long. We've been doing it for hundreds of years. So they decided we're going to make music where all of the notes have equal footing with each other. And so 12-tone serialism is like, basically you have a sequence of notes and you cannot repeat any note of the 12 until the whole sequence has played through. Yeah. And so that systematically makes it to where no note is played more often than another one. And it just sounds not good. maybe just our feeble brains aren't accustomed to that lofty, whatever, Schoenberg tried to say. But like, honestly, it's just not, it doesn't apply itself to the mind very well. And that is kind of that distinction that I'm talking about, is that you can go full into technicality and then all of the soul is gone. And so I went in the other extreme during my master's, and I just wrote a piece completely intuitively. And it was kind of inspired by like progressive rock. But I just kind of like threw a bunch of sounds at it, and it became this brass quintet, which was really difficult. and that was really fun to just kind of not think too hard about and not apply hardly any rules and just see what came out of me. And that became really fun. And it was interesting to go to both extremes and find the in-betweens. And so in the creative process, we like lean on both of those at all times. Right. And sometimes it might lean too much one way and you're hitting your head against the wall to like figure out like what the heck is going on. And sometimes you need to reach for the creative side. And then sometimes you're just trying random stuff and it's like, I don't like anything that's coming out of me. So let me like apply some structure so that I have somewhere to go. So yeah, what has been your experience with that?
Oh, technicality and creativity, slamming each other. Yeah, it's what I mean, that's the world my brain exclusively lives in, right? As an engineer, I have to float between being exceptionally technical and then kick right back into creative. And so like these modality shifts in my brain, they're nonstop. And sometimes, you get in a mode where you're leaning far too technical, or like you're looking at, just for example, you're looking at an EQ graph or something like that. And all of a sudden you stop thinking about the the thing that I'm EQing musically, because you're like, oh, well, is 6 dB too many decibels to reduce at this? That feels like a lot. It's like, who gives a shit? Just like, does it feel good? Is the music doing what you want it to do now? You know, there's so many intersections. And music and art in general is this crazy place where all these things happen. We talk about this quite a bit on our podcast. You know, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, you were talking about a friend who thought they needed to go to art school. And the argument was, well, do you? And it's like, well, anybody can be, you know, an artist, you know, air quotes, about, you know, just by doing it. And you can learn a lot by doing it and being surrounded by people who also do it, and building communities that then feed off of each other. And then my counter to that was, well, you pick up a lot of technique in school, and technique can be a shortcut for getting to the thing faster. Sometimes, not always, but you know, I mean, it's such a crazy thing. Even in our conversations, Aaron, we talk about like file structure management and how lame that is, you know, or like your computer is not particularly optimized for this thing. And it's like, well, I just want to make music. And it's like, it's the same thing, bud, you know, and sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But no matter what, it's something we, like, as creative folks, if we don't manage that, I feel like something's going to get lost or left behind. And so that where that intersection is, to me, is where it's so exciting, because it's firing on all sides all the time. Like, where you have to constantly be juggling the information, and you know, like your brain has to be really fast and malleable, and being able to switch modes really quickly. I don't know. That's where I'm at with it. Kind of just, that's what I live and breathe and do every day. I'm either fixing this thing, or I'm making something, or I'm building this, and then I'm fixing it. It's just, it's constant. It's constant. Yeah.
I have more questions about that, but I also want to hear Aaron's point of view.
Technicality and I, as Michael is privy to, have a checkered history. Not because I wasn't willing, but because I didn't have enough belief or inner, you know, fortitude to actually like do the hard work of the learning. So I just was like, oh man, I'm creative, man. I'm like, you know, and I started to sense that the correlation to be technical would actually free me to create. And so basically the last year of being at Cardinal Song has been a journey of learning the depth of the technicality of the thing so that I actually get it out of the way. So now I don't think about whatever K. I just listen to my ears. Our visual tools are very, very helpful. But one of the most valuable things that Michael did for me when I was mixing a single for an artist, he shut the computer screen off and made me just listen and automate on the board without looking at anything. So it's like, trust your instincts. Here's your key commands. Do it this way. And I was like, oh, that was actually like one of those, like, I was going to say Will Hunting moment. Good Will Hunting moments is not your fault, Will. Not quite the same, but it was like a turning point in my creative journey that got me thinking. Like, we say RTFM a lot, read the fucking manual. And I actually really do think that work actually takes you further than you could ever believe. The understanding of the thing that you're toying with or messing with or using as your main source of, this is what I do and how I do what I do. Right. You need to know how it works in and out, because once you do that, it enables you to create at the absolute highest levels, because you have essentially taken off a lot of the boundaries. At that point, it just becomes, what can your mind potentially conjure?
And what rules can you break?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And rule number one for me is that, like, I don't want you to think about rules. I just want you to, like, creatively, I was just talking to my art team and I was saying, I just want you to creatively enjoy this process. If you get frustrated, I want you to walk away. I want you to walk away and think about what you're doing, and then come back with a grateful heart, because we get to make stuff together. That's been serving me really well. If I get frustrated, I'll take a beat, and then I'll come back and I'll work through it. And sometimes I'll work through the frustration, but you know, they're loose rules. None of them matter.
Right.
they're not really rules, I guess.
Well, here's an example from just last night or this week, even for you. There's a guitar pedal right over on your other side called the Chase Bliss Mood.
Yeah, dude.
Anybody who's ever messed with a Chase Bliss pedal understands technicality and art and creativity crossing over, because those pedals are insanely technical. There's a gajillion modes. And have you seen any of these?
No, I haven't.
Is that plugged in? I know this is off topic, but
actually I did unplug it.
okay. Santiago, just walk over there and look at it, because it's crazy. Like just the backside of it. Like you see all those dip switches? Right. So it's like,
switches, man.
yeah, it's a pedal. It's got knobs and switches, but then you've got like 18 dip switches across the back. You can change the modes. So, this crazy place of and the manual is, 1 million pages long, and I'll be damned if they're not the most expressive and creative pedals I've played with in years. But it's because of the amount of technicality that goes into it, so that, they're actually making it easier in this way that looks very complex. But once you understand how the modes work,
Shout out Dan.
For the mood, our friend Dan over at Old Blood Noise, he did the delay side of it. The other half is Drolo. Some really nice guy at Drolo did the looper side. But it's just such a wild and crazy world where these things meet.
I do think that, because from the creative point of view, that I feel like most people would think, like, read the fucking manual. Like, oh God, it's so boring.
What a drag.
Yeah. and like some of what went through my mind looking at the back of that pedal was like just a sigh of like, this is so much, like, this is overwhelming. I have so much to like learn about this thing. And that is part of the process of like, yes, you do. But then when you do, you know exactly what it's doing and how to get where you're going. And I can't remember if you said this on the last one or this one, it doesn't matter. But like, the problem with like the giving people a packaged thing that is all the way there is that it doesn't let you go in and tinker with it. So
you're speaking his language for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like begrudgingly a PC user.
Right. No, I get that, because everything can be manipulated in PC world much easier than it can in Mac world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many uphill battles in just using a PC for music stuff or for audio stuff. Right. But like, I know exactly where it is. I know. And so, yeah, once you reach that point, you do have a level of freedom of creativity and knowing exactly where you want to go. It's kind of interesting. Something that really helped with my workflow. I got an MMO mouse. Oh, cool. And it's just a mouse with a whole bunch of buttons on the side.
The quick keys and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And so instead of like, I hardly ever take my hand off of the mouse anymore. And that seems like a really technical thing. But in the creative process, now that I no longer have to, just this little thing of taking my hand off the mouse allows for so much more. And so, yeah, that's the instances where the technicality, you might have to go through some hurdles to try and get to that point. But also the freedom, like you said, that happens afterwards is so worth it to be able to then not have to think about the technical stuff anymore. You go super technical so that you don't have to think about it anymore.
You can stop going there.
Yeah.
I mean, even like reading stuff about the way the Beatles made records, like the lab coats and this mic has to be this far away from that. It's so technical that it took somebody to go, I get it, but it sounds cooler here. And we're going to do that whether you like it or not, because we're the fucking Beatles, like, we'll buy you another one, whatever. It doesn't make us any difference, but getting to the point where you understand the technical, like you're saying, the technicality so well that you can just do it. We've talked about this also recently, where the getting into maybe a quote non-ideal situation. I was in a tracking situation a couple, say a month ago, and the monitoring in there was really weird, and it's not a bad thing but I couldn't figure out left from right, not literally left from right, but I couldn't really understand what was going on, the things, and I rebalanced the system and it made more sense. But at that point we had already put in a day's worth of work, and so I was real nervous. I brought the stuff back here to Cardinal Song, put it on the speakers, and I was like, oh no, we're fine. But it's again, because we get to a point where like the technical stuff, like it's not exciting for me to put microphones in front of sources anymore. Like that part of it is not fun for me anymore. But that's okay, because I can do it and I know that I'm going to get a result that I'm happy with. Where it gets really fun is to start, doing things intentionally, quote, wrong, in order to make something that's weirder. But yeah, like when everyone wants to know what's your favorite plugin, right? Who gives a shit? It's the one that works for you.
Yeah, anymore I'm kind of like, I don't know. Ooh, what'd you do to the vote? I don't know. I think I sang it and then doubled it and then did this and that. I don't know. I was just messing with stuff.
I did an interview or it was like a class thing for a buddy who's got this thing up at Rochester University up in New York, and it's about studio building and planning and designing of studios. At the end, we just took some open-ended questions, and some of the kids, bless their hearts, were just like, "How do you use compression?" And I was like, "To make stuff not as dynamic." Like I know it seems dumb, but it's like, guys, you've overthought this. Like, just use the tools. A hammer is a hammer is a hammer. Oh, it's got a rubber tip on it? That's cool. It's still a hammer.
This just reinforces reading the manual, because like those kids are asking questions out of their ignorance, and you're actually trying to say like, it's quite, you've done this to me over and over. You're overthinking this. So it's like the less knowledge you have about the thing, the more potentials there could be. Right. And so it's like there's approximately 3 to 4 potentials here, and they're in the form of knobs. Just see what happens.
Twist them.
Yeah.
So long as you know what each knob does, then you're going to figure it out. And if you don't, use the extremes of those knobs to figure out what they do, and then you have a better understanding. Like there's nothing hidden here.
Yeah. I think knowing your tools is actually like if you take the time to know your tools, you're actually fast tracking yourself to just be a pro quicker.
Yeah. YouTube will not help you for that. No, it won't, because you still have to put the work in.
Well, yeah. Okay. But as a resource, YouTube is great.
No, YouTube itself is great, but being like, I'm going to watch this guy talk about
I think I conflated
my 5 favorite vocal compressors. It's like, it's just a compressor.
Yeah.
Six best vocal microphones. All microphones are vocal microphones. Stop with this. Stop it.
And the other part of that is that like you get someone else's bias.
Exactly.
When it's like, oh, well, I like doing it this way because, and it's like, and I know this from being a student, that like, especially your student and other people's students is that like, how do you do this? What is the right way? And it's like, as soon as someone tells you a way, you're
that guy now.
The infant mind is just like, all right, this is mine now. Right. That is the way, and there's no other way now. And it's like, you don't have to do that.
That's right. It's like, you can try it like that, but please break that, because it may not work for you.
Explore. Really explore.
Yeah. Sing into a D112. It's a kick drum microphone. So what? Does it sound cool? Do it.
Yeah. And that was kind of a funny thing that I experienced is in like one of those classes, we tried recording my vocals in like a certain method that was like, oh yeah, like having like a room and have it like spaced and then whatever, and then that's how we'll do the vocals. And then when I listened back to it, I'm like, I don't like it.
Yeah. It's like everyone tries the Tony Visconti thing where it's like, we have the mic that Bowie sang into.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
15
that was the
feet
thing.
later, there's a stereo set of microphones. It's on a gate. And the louder you sing, it'll open the gate, and then you're getting room sounds. And if you set the gate right, it opens and closes naturally, right? But you know who that works for? David Bowie, because it's David Bowie
on that track.
Exactly.
Though, as well.
Yeah.
Like, you can try it on any other Bowie track and it might not work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not about the thing that they did. It's more about what are you doing?
Yeah, and the opportunity that the song presents itself, being like, hey, would it be cool if something kind of pumped and breathed in this like room way that was opening? You go, yeah, let's try that, because there's room for it in the song. The song told you to do that. Not Tony Visconti, not David Bowie. The song did. The thing that you've created is the thing that's telling you what to do. You know?
Touché.
Yeah.
At least that's me.
Yeah. What are the rules that you're still following?
Phase is maybe the one I'd pay the most attention to actively, because rules. I mean, that's just science. That's just physics. You know, outside of that, I mean, anything's kind of gravy at that point, you know, but so long as things are in phase, I'm pretty happy. And if they're not in phase, at least they're at a portion of 180 degrees out or something in a way that allows it to still be additive in a way that doesn't just destroy the source. I know that sounds, lame, but that's it for me.
Oh no, because it's huge. Because it's like the difference between something sounding good and something sounding not good.
Well, sure, but also if
he's holding up the sticker.
I made stickers that say "never forget" with the phase signs and the polarity. Excuse me, polarity.
Yes. How dare you?
Never forget.
I'm trying to think of a rule. The only rule really I have is like interpersonal. Like the song wins. Like nobody like. We can hash it out. We can talk it out. We can do whatever, but it's all about the song in the end. I think that's just my number one rule. Like as a creative, and specifically doing this.
Well, with any art, right? It's the end product. It's the thing that you hear or see, or that's the only thing that matters. The struggles in between are irrelevant.
It's a tough balance because you bring your ego to the door no matter what, whether you want to or not, and you don't realize it or you do. There's some existential stuff in there, but the idea is to try to get out of the way to create a space for creating. Like number one rule is like, let's have a good time doing this. Let's enjoy this. Like life is to be savored, especially in these moments like this. What we're getting to do is special. We're getting to make something that I'll almost certainly like, and somebody else might too. Right. That's cool. That's valuable to me. That's super valuable to me, given the fact that other people have made things that have helped me like be happy or get through sad times, whether it's visual or audible. Like it's all so worthwhile to me. It's the zest of life, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we also get really like bogged down about the like limitations of stuff.
Yes.
Because then, we're always seeking more gear. We're always trying to find the new cool thing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, I want to do this thing. And it's like, you probably already have everything you need to do a thing that you want to do. And then there's other times where you don't know what you want to do. And you think that a new thing will give you the thing that you're looking for. But then other times it's just like, it's okay to have the limitations, and the limitations give you so much more structure so that you can be more creative. I always think of I always refer to this as the sandbox problem of like, whenever someone goes, just make a thing, you just sit down and I was like, I don't know what to do. There's so many things to do. I don't want to, but then it's like, write me a song about a tree. And then it's like, oh, I get this idea. And if I like use leaves as samples for the thing, that'll be something. It's like you are given the limitation. You're making stuff that you could have been doing in the previous question, but now that you have as something to guide you towards, it's like, oh, now there's so many more interesting things to try here.
Well, and that's the beauty of context, right? Whether it's, I think what I'm hearing you say is that if you put somebody in the sandbox without any context whatsoever, you'll get something, but it may be very scattered because you haven't focused the energy, but yeah, context is huge. And yeah, use whatever you got. Yeah. I mean, like limitations are important. They're really important. The idea of saying we're only going to use 16 tracks, period. And it's like, well, yeah, but you got a DAW. You could use, I know, however many I want. But we have to keep the ideas limited to a certain number in order to maximize the the creativity in that moment. And then if it's a rule, then you're allowed to break it, so long as everybody goes, all right, all hands in, we're breaking it. Boom. For this one, it's broken, but then that requires a separate conversation, which allows for another creative output, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's important to recognize that what you have is enough. And that you're always going to find like you probably don't feel like you have enough unless you're Bender.
Yeah. He's got a lot.
But the main thesis of the point being what you have is part of the appeal, because the way that it limits you, it also gives you a thing, your thing. Like I only have one Dan Electro guitar. And because of Cardinal Song, I have access to others, but I would make it work. I would make it work. Or if I really needed something, I would tap into my community and be like, hey, can I borrow a Strat for a day or whatever? Like, I don't know. I feel like anymore, the majority of the battle is like not what you don't have. It's showing up with what you do have.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot too. It's just like, show up and make stuff.
Yeah. And the technicality is what gets you from like, all right, well, I have this thing and it's this limited thing, but if you know exactly what it does, then you know just how far you can go with it.
I feel like in ways we're like software artist liaisons, because we have these artists come in and they don't, some of them definitely do. They have the proficiency. They know what they're doing. Oh, yeah. But some of them, they don't know and they don't care. They just want to make the music. And it's like, I got you. Yes, all this work that I put in now can source you to get the thing that you want. Oh man, that's a great thing.
Yeah, I love being a great Pro Tools op. I love it.
I love it too. I really do. I love it.
Well, it's just like, can we do this? Yeah, absolutely can. The answer in my case with anything like that, the answer is never no. At least not anymore. Maybe it was at one point in my life, but it's, can we try that? Yeah, of course we can. We may not like it. We could try it.
Yeah. And so, I always think about for music theory as well is that I've noticed how my knowledge of music theory has limited my scope, in that because school has given me all of these rules, I have a tendency towards certain things, even though I don't have to. And I know I don't have to, but I'm still like, yeah, but 5-1.
Yeah, but that's also a proven winner.
Sure. Yeah, but it's like I'm a little tired of like this thing, and it's like the more that I look at it, the more I'm like, all right, I know that I'm doing this thing, and it's not achieving the thing that I'm necessarily going for, and that's where in some ways, like music theory knowledge can be a solution to a problem. If you're like, oh, okay, how can I approach it, put a different chord in here that will be a bit closer to the thing that I'm going for. But a lot of times it is also a limiter in that, well, this is how it would normally be. This is what is possible within this key. And here's the, closely related keys that I can choose from. But then it's like, no, just like try stuff. And for me, the hard part is sort of allowing myself, like the technicality has limited me in the stuff that I can do. And sometimes I do want that like childlike freedom of being able to just go across a keyboard or go across a guitar and not know what I'm doing, but just enjoy the sounds. And like at this point, it's becoming harder to turn it off.
That's interesting.
You essentially just called me a child.
Me too.
That's a good thing.
No, I agree. I was just talking to my friend Mally about the childlike nature of the creator. I think is something that you have to tap into, because that's when you're like creating at your most like, you haven't been touched by the darkness of the the hardships that come with life. You're 5, 6, 7. You're chilling, man. Like it doesn't matter what you do.
It's like looking at kids' drawings. It's one of the most beautiful things because they have no concept, and then just go like, "See, mommy, this is what you look like," and then now mom's got to go like, okay,
Yeah.
I guess I do.
Yeah.
Or I do to that person in this time. It's like, it's beautiful.
I'm curious about the knowledge of something that you're like, oh, the 5-1 doesn't feel right for this. Or like, I want to try something different. My mind instantly goes to like, I think that may be your soul listening for something else. And I actually believe that the brain and the soul are one. I think they're the same thing. That's a big, I know that was a big jump. I was a big jump.
Philosophy.
But the soul, I mean, there's a knowing, there's a knowledge in a room sometimes where everybody's on board and they're like, yo, that's the thing. And then we've been in rooms where there's like 2 categories of people where they're like, yo, no, this is the thing. And other people are like, this is definitely not the thing. And you're like, no, I am convinced this is the thing. So it's like, who's right? Who's right in that moment?
Well, they're both right.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're both right. And that's the thing where it's like, you can't shut down the willingness to explore both sides. So somebody says, I really feel like the 5-1 thing is it. And you go like, no, for me, I wanted to do, I don't know, 6/4 or whatever. And you're like moving between these chords. And it's like, okay, well, let's try it. The worst case scenario is we all listen to it and on either side. And you go, you know what? It should have been 3/5 the whole time or whatever, and it doesn't matter. It's the output. It's the thing that you look at is the only thing that really truly matters.
Yeah. I always refer to chiseling away at the statue that isn't the marble, or wow, I just said that backwards. Chiseling away at the marble that isn't the statue. And it's like you said, serve the song. And so, yeah, sometimes like trying both ways, and there's so many songs. So like there's lots of songs on my album that I'm working on that I've had for years and years and years. And sometimes I've tried like going somewhere else with it. It's like, I don't know. Like there's one in particular that is just like this one progression, and it's this one like simple melody and simple progression. And over the years, I've tried going somewhere else. I've tried like finding other lines or more lyrics or something. And it's like, I think this is just this mantra. Right. And it's just all of the attempts at exploring everywhere else to go. And it's like, my technical brain is like, no, there needs to be more. It can't be this simple. And then like the creative brain just goes, no, this was it the whole time.
But it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's beauty in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's beauty in the struggle as well as the releasing of it, to be like, yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay because it's what it is. If I don't want it to be this, then it's not this song. Mm-hmm. We could fight it to death, or we can just let it be what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going a lot with the how did the creativity save the thing? What are instances where the technicality saved the thing?
Oh gosh, that's all the time for me.
Well, for me, it's a lot of like the patch bay thing, which kind of started this all. The patch bay has been like, oh, like a huge, I knew it moment. But it was just like when I dove into Ableton too for the first time. It was like, I wish I'd done this years ago. It's just unlocked so much potential. But yeah, you probably have more instances.
But mine's only because I'm engineering and Pro Tools opping so often. It's my actual job, right? So, someone's like, oh, this drum thing isn't right. I'm like, I can fix it. Like, oh, you're saying flat? I can fix it. So it's like, all I do is fix things, and that's some end of the spectrum. My job is purely fixing things. And at the other end, it's just weirdness. So I think it just kind of depends. But technicality saves so many things, from a DAW standpoint or just an audio standpoint where, we're mixing Gonzo the Bronzo the last couple of days, and you just did, was it 2 episodes with Dave? Yeah. Yeah. So
nice.
Dave Hannon.
Shout out Dave.
Yeah. Wonderful, man. When they did some tracking at home for like some guitar stuff, and things weren't very well labeled in their session. So it was one of those, like, I'm dragging things over. I'm trying to figure out what's what, in order to do these really quick mixes for them. And I think it was named like Guitar 1 and Guitar 5, and they were next to each other. And they seemed like they were the same performance on different microphones or a DI and a mic. But but they also didn't, because there were just enough time difference. And so I was like, I think this is the same take. And so then I pop, a piece of software on there and have it do some alignment. And sure enough, it's like, as soon as you did that, it was like the whole image just got instantly, like it made sense because they were, like 270 degrees out of phase, panned hard left and hard right. And I'm just like, I don't even know what's going on. I can't hear the guitar part, but I can't tell if that's because they put a delay in it or what's going on. And so then I use auto align. I think Sound Radix makes that. And, basically you have a source and it looks at the next one in relationship to it and can then line them phase accurately and can also do the polarity as well. So,
well, that's a great utility.
Yeah, it's really helpful. And I don't have to be like, I'm nudging by milliseconds to try to get things in place. I just go, just do the thing. And and then it's done. That was huge. And
have to get that.
And I think it was only on one song, but there were like 6 tracks on this one song that had that problem. And it's just, and that's just a labeling issue inside of Pro Tools. So they're moving fast. I think Dave was telling me, he's like, I would just take one track and I would say duplicate 15 times. Yeah. And so then they were just there because he'd be playing. And so somebody else in the band would just be hitting record more or less. And Pro Tools isn't what they do. So it makes sense that it was, screwed up in that way. But yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always little stuff like that.
It also seems that like the technical comes in to fix things. Has it ever been the source of the creativity of like, now I have this thing and it can make things rather than, something's wrong, let me fix it, which is like, you can kind of apply that regardless, but like creative technicality.
Modular synthesis. I mean, I feel like it's an incredibly creative thing, but at some point it's just coming up with patches and ideas and plugging stuff in and then seeing what happens, and then you go, okay, this needs that or needs to be modulated by this thing. It's very thinky. It's not expressive and like you can pick up an instrument.
It's predicated on discovery.
Yeah, but it's technicality that drives it, because if you don't know what the LFO is and you don't understand what an envelope generator, an envelope follower, and just if you don't know what those things are, you're fucked out of the gate. Yeah. And that's like the first 2 years of you learning modular synthesis is just being like, I don't know what a low pass gate actually does. And then you do it and you go, oh, okay, I get it now. But it takes you plugging stuff in and be like, I don't know what this is doing. I don't know what this is doing. How does this relate to something else? And then you're buying all these modules trying to make something and you realize you had it all in like this one. It's just incredible.
The never ending story.
Yeah. But even like on the Ableton side, like Max for Live.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's pure technicality that ends up spitting out beautiful things. Or Monom with like Norns and just the Monom in general is just such an incredibly useful device. But at some point you got to code. Like you have to be a coder first that is trying to then make creative things. And that's where I check out. I'm just like, I can't. I can't.
I'm a hard pass on that for sure.
That's where a quick text to Dustin Ragland is like, hey, I'm trying to do this thing. He's like, I made you a patch.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Shout out Dustin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God bless Dustin Ragland.
Yeah, he's been an anchor in many ways.
And Matt Lowry for that too.
Yeah, Matt. Shout out Matt.
Yeah, and in our community here in Oklahoma City, we've got some really creative minds and some really out there places in the electronic world. Of course, Dustin's now in Atlanta. If you're in Atlanta, look up Dustin Ragland.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You will be so happy.
Oh my God,
it.
he's the best.
It's true. Facts.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean that's where my technical brain especially does have like the most fun. While I don't know how to code or anything in Max, just the possibilities that it gives you of just like you can map an LFO to another LFO to another LFO. What does that do? That creates a 3-body problem. Do you know about the 3-body problem?
I have no idea.
So in astrophysics, it's pretty mappable to like have 2 bodies orbit each other, and we can kind of understand what is happening there because of the pull that they have on each other. But when you add a third, it is entirely untraceable. Like it just behaves in a truly random way, in a way that it still, they still oscillate, they still orbit each other, but it's truly random. And you can just make that, put 3 LFOs in a row in Ableton, and they will influence each other, and you will make something entirely
unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
Yeah. That's cool. So the 3-body problem is more like a 3-body opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Problem being a different sort of label on it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's a problem for astrophysicists who are trying to trace the movements of planets.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just trying to turn astrophysics on its head here.
Yeah.
Take that, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
actually, what is happening is
Neil deGrasse Tyson's on this podcast next week. So,
that's great.
He's going to solve this problem right here now.
Yeah, we'll see what his people say. But yeah, so, and that's a completely technical thing that you're like, I don't know what you're saying about like mapping LFOs to each other. It's like, yeah, but you're going to get something that if you had just sat down at a keyboard or sat down at Pro Tools or something, that you will never get otherwise. And it's like, here's just another aspect of data that you can turn into other data. And you can do this in other programs too. You can import a image file and see what it sounds like as audio. You can, just turn data into other data. And that can just create other things that even if you don't even use whatever that thing was, it can just end up inspiring you to be like, ooh, that created this sort of rhythm that I might use on this thing. And yeah, the creative foundation with just Max, for example. Yeah, it does. You're just turning numbers into other numbers. That's all it is.
So cool. Yeah. I mean, this is kind of like adjacent to it, but the thing you asked me about when we first kind of got here is like, what are you really excited about right now? And it's that stupid little pedal board I've built. It's not stupid. It's great, but
it's really cool.
But I've been doing this thing where I've been plugging any source into it, synthesizer, guitar, whatever. So I have multiple ways to come into it. Currently, I could go in 1/4-inch jack, or I've got the Old Blood Noise MAW, so I could take a line level signal into it. I could take a microphone signal into it, whatever you want. It's wide open. And then I'm running through these crazy pedals, and I'm spitting something out that is nothing like the input, right? But then I'm taking that and turning those into other instruments. So I'm taking those waveforms and or these larger samples and then mapping them to the keyboard and making these just like, and then it's doubly insane because now it's in Ableton. You can do whatever you want in Ableton. So it's like, yeah, the idea of information creating new information that then can create completely different sets of information is fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where, I mean, for me, how I kind of started talking about this is that I was like, what if I did 12-tone serialism, but like with time and sound? And that was the way of like converting numbers into other things. The result maybe needed some more finessing as far as like making it sound more interesting or something. But like, it's still, hey, turn numbers into other numbers and see what happens. Right. And that can allow you to, just all data is data, all information is. So it's like sound becomes something else. And what happens when you break the rules intentionally? But first you have to know what the thing is doing in order to break the rules in a way that it will understand.
Right. Did you ever listen to, I think it was NASA? They had these crazy, I can't remember the data, but they were like pointing something at a planet, and I think they were receiving some sort of information back, but then they modulated it down into audio spectrum.
I think I did hear about that. Yeah. So it was like the background noise of like Jupiter or something like that. And it's like, it doesn't actually make sound, but it was frequencies. Yeah. And frequencies are frequencies.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can just put that in the range that humans can hear. And like, this is what Jupiter sounds like.
Yeah. This is the RF, basically you're receiving radio frequency back from shooting a, radio frequency at something, you pick it back up and then you just modulate it way the hell down into auditory range. It's insane. Yeah. And if you haven't listened to them go, for anybody who hasn't, it's fascinating.
I'm interested.
Yeah, because it's I think it's on YouTube. I was just poo-pooing YouTube, but yeah, but it's so cool, and I'm sure it's definitely on NASA's website somewhere.
Yeah, well, the other funny part is that like they did get a creative in there to like make it interesting, because if it was all the sciencey people, they would have been like, well, it's not really a sound because it's all above our range of hearing, and it's also radio is not actually like sound waves. It's just like, stop.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Just, yeah.
All the images that we see of space actually isn't what that looks like. They modify the colors and say like, oh, we know that there are oxygen particles here. We know that there's hydrogen here. We know that there's these things. And so we can make those a different color that our telescopes are seeing, and we can like make it an image that looks really pretty.
That's outside of our visual range. I mean, but that's the whole basis for astrophysics, isn't it? Is modulation of light. Right. I mean, at least that's my understanding of it. Like the further you are back in time changes the color spectrum changes, right? Because of the way things reflect back over time. It's the same thing with water, right? Like light shining through water, you lose certain colors faster at certain points, scuba diving stuff. But yeah, it's fascinating. Yeah. It's all just waveforms. Everything's just waveforms all the time. Yeah.
And sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just pondering the people, talk about there being frequencies that like your body or your
the 442
mind.
Thing.
Well, yeah, the resonance of certain things. I have curiosities around that, but
sure.
That's like me sitting up in bed at 2 a.m. thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Well, I mean, so the difference between, having the frequencies that Jupiter gives out versus like, oh, we're 432 hertz, all music is being tuned a little bit lower, is like the difference of like not knowing what and how. And so like people who are really into 432 hertz don't know what frequencies do.
It's like a weird thing to be into personally.
Right. But it's like, oh, it's like at a better frequency with your
they
like,
say it's the resonance the resonance of the planet. And I'm like, is it? I don't know. Is it like, and if so, I don't care. I mean,
right. It doesn't.
I don't care what we tune to. Like,
yeah. Does it change anything that we're perceiving?
Maybe not.
Yeah. And so like, okay, well, what we have now is a whole bunch of instruments and things that are tuned to 440. So like, if you want to make all your music in 432, like you're going to have to figure that part out.
Yeah, get your piano tuner in. He's going to need to be in for a week because that's going to change the scale of that tuning. It's really hard to do. I wonder
how weird that would be on like a playlist to hear like 10 songs in 440 and then suddenly a song in 432.
It's in tune with the world, man.
Well, literally it makes it to where it's just like slightly lower.
We can do that.
Yeah, it's just slightly lower. We can
do that right now. 2 songs, pitch one down. Yeah. That many cents. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I'm doing it. Just kidding.
It's funny. Yeah. It's just funny. I remember one of those back when I was still teaching, I had this moment in what class? Sonic Fundamentals. I don't know if you had that when we were. Yeah. So Sonic Fundamentals. There's this guy who I really loved this kid, and he was not a great student. Like he didn't do well on tests and things like that, but it didn't really make any difference. I thought he was one of the more interesting people to have in class. And unfortunately he didn't come to the final. No, but I had like this thing because I realized he didn't need school. You don't need this. You need to read this book though. And I bought him a book and I didn't tell him. I was just going to give it to him on the way out of class. And he didn't show up. So I wanted to give that to him. He was a really neat guy. But at one point we were sitting there and we were talking about light and sound and all these and how everything's just waveforms. And he had one of those like explosion moments in his eyes. And I was like, you're having fun now, aren't you? And he was like, this is crazy. And I was like, it's all just science, baby. Like none of this stuff is weird. It's all everything. We are just these little instruments that are so specifically tuned to a various patterns of light and sound, which is all just some waveform.
Kind of ethereal.
Yeah, and he was just like, "Oh my God, are we doing acid right now?" I was like, "No, you're in class, just learning about how things work."
You're tripping on natural DMT, my friend.
Exactly.
What book was it? I'm curious. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Was it Ishmael?
It was Ishmael.
He bought that for me too. I haven't read it yet. I plan to.
That's fine. I just like that book because it makes you think about things in a way that you go, "Oh," and especially when I read it in my 20s, it was just one of those like, "Okay, I guess everything is." Everything.
That's how I felt when I read Hatchet. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Sorry.
It's a throwback to the other podcast we were just on.
Deep cuts.
Deep cuts. You had to listen to them both.
I derailed your thought. I apologize.
No, it's perfectly fine. But yeah, so it's just an interesting book. Have you read Ishmael?
I have not. No.
Well, I have an extra copy of it. I'm sure.
Yeah, I have books like that too.
I always keep a couple copies of that around just because I think it's interesting. I'm actually trying to go back and reread it, and there's a whole little series with it. And I don't know. Everyone says it's kind of crappy philosophy, but I found it at the time to be very empowering in a way of just being allowed to think differently. And he was somebody who was really cool, who I think needed to be told he was allowed to think differently.
Sure.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. So
Doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
Science's work.
A concept that I feel like maybe I don't talk enough about, given the name of this podcast, is bit depth.
Sure.
And that what happened to that student was like his bit depth increased.
Yep.
Yeah. And when you read certain things, it's like, oh, I have more room for different kinds of information exponentially.
Yes.
And so do you know how bit depth is?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
know.
And so it doesn't just apply to like sound and how many loudnesses. It also applies to like data.
Right.
And so
I finally got one right, Dad.
yeah. And so once you kind of add another module by which you can understand things, everything else changes. I think there was a thing that, I don't know, from maybe our parents' generation to like our generation, I'm a little bit younger than you guys, but like the difference in thinking of things in binaries to spectrums. And that is something that has increased our bit depth as a culture,
society,
Yeah.
to be able to understand that, oh, we can go somewhere in between. And that's something that, like, if you haven't expanded your brain with that and applied it to everything early on, it might be really hard for you to apply that to everything. That's why like some older generations just like see that stuff and they're like, I don't know. Nope.
Yeah. I mean, we're fighting that big time right now, not just in our state, but in our country and in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the ways in which, and kind of going back to, again, calling back to the previous podcast, is like sort of looking for your blind spots, is that there are ways of understanding that we haven't opened ourselves to as well. And it's like, well, you know, we can think of things in a spectrum, but maybe there's also like a third, you know, or a second axis for us to understand things on. And so now we can look at things not just from like side to side, but up and down, and you can apply that to everything else. And that just exponentially opens you up to everything else, and you can apply that to everything else. And so, yeah, I mean, there's going to be things that future generations are going to understand fully and easily that we are not going to be able to begin
Absolutely.
to like, how does that even work?
Yeah. It's like just collective knowledge, you know, like it keeps getting deeper, and the well keeps getting deeper and deeper. And hopefully, you know, we can all start drinking from that spring soon, you know, but yeah.
Well, therein lies why I think I'm attracted to people that are curious. Why I'm attracted to people that like to create is because they actually see the world as an expanding thing where, you know, I wouldn't venture to guess how many people do and do not, but I know it's, you know, there's not a whole lot of people that didn't even did care at all about what we're talking about. Where the three of us in this room were like, what's this ever expanding life that we're living in? Like I kind of liken it to like humans getting firmware updates.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in a very large firmware update. This is like a new number. I don't know what number we're on yet. I'll have to ask Jesus, but sorry.
He's not taking calls.
Yeah. Ooh, is he? Are you sure? No shade to Jesus, genuinely.
Shout out to Jesus.
Shout out to Jesus. But yeah, I think the idea of the spectrum being broadened is, I found myself where I've been more conservative of thought at times and been like, but why? And then that simple question, if you're willing to at least kind of stop there and be like, well, why do I? What is the construct that is built that makes me feel this way or think that this is right versus wrong, et cetera, et cetera. So to be open-minded, I do believe is in a way to be the type of individual that has like a kind of an audacious love and or acceptance of its fellow human. Does it make sense?
Yeah, and of things that you don't necessarily understand.
Yeah.
Where your reaction isn't necessarily fear. It's just like that's cool. That's that thing.
You've been talking about Santiago. You've been saying that you want to see your blind spots. I kind of say the same thing in the sense that like my people in my life are holding up a mirror to who I am, and so I choose people that will hold that mirror up because they love me, and because I'll also hold the mirror up so that we can see ourselves in a vulnerable enough state to be able to deliver messages of love in the form of critique. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, isn't critique? No, I mean, I try to always think of critique as a form of love because if you're just being an asshole, it's different. But if
I think some people just see it rooted in hurt because they don't like to be questioned or, oh no, they were found out, or, I think it creates a reaction.
It can. I mean, I've definitely been in relationships with people like that where it's like, this isn't personal.
To you?
Well, it's something that's happening. And if we want to move past it, then it's something that we have to discuss. It's not personal about you. It's about this situation, which includes me. So I'm willing to be wrong in that situation too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I just feel that actually, that type of deliverable deserves pretense and a preface. It helps me deliver what I find to be helpful knowledge, maybe in true earnest love. Sure. So that they know for a fact.
Yeah, context.
Yes.
Some amount of context.
Yeah. I don't know how we got there.
Yeah, no, I mean,
but
we're going wherever
here we
goes.
are.
Yeah.
Welcome to the ethereality.
Yeah. Something I've been really into lately is team CBT. So I don't know if you know what CBT is.
Like the oil or the compound?
That's
CBT.
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Cognitive behavioral therapy.
Not CBD, my bad.
So team CBT is just like acronyms on acronyms, but it's like a different kind of cognitive behavioral therapy that has a process and kind of approaches psychology in a scientific way. And so how we can not just help each other and ourselves, but also like finding a way of understanding ourselves. So TEAM, testing, empathy, agenda setting, and methods. Okay. And so it's like testing is just like, how are you feeling before and after you've talked about this thing? Agenda setting is just like, what are the things that you are feeling? Where would we like them to be? How would you like to be feeling instead? That was agenda setting. Empathy is just getting to the point to where you feel comfortable enough with the other person so that you can get yourself there. Yeah. And then methods is just like how to actually address each individual thing. And that's just like, there's just specific methods that you would use. And yes, this is like a form of like therapy, but also you can use it interpersonally and be like, I can't give someone critique until they understand that I am empathizing with them.
Right.
And so if you just go up front and be like, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this, we should change this. And it's like, from your understanding, you might be like, yeah, because I want to help you and I want you to be better. I want all of us to be better. But from their point of view, they might not be feeling the empathy. And they're just like, you're just coming up here being an asshole and telling me about these things you don't like about me.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting dichotomy, right? Because at some point you also have to view, I guess, especially in my world, the job is to present options, right? So it's not that I'm not specifically that I'm not poo-pooing somebody to poo-poo it, be like, what if we try it like this? Yeah. So you couch all these things in a way that is specifically surrounding the idea of never shutting it down, but also offering options. And oftentimes, at least I find in the work that I do, that turns out to be pretty helpful, because I've been in the room one too many times when someone's just like, nope, that's not how we're going to do it. And you watch that especially over a course of years. I mean, everyone knows what it's like to be in a band in this room. And if you are listening to this and you don't know what it's like to collaborate at that level, I highly recommend it, whether it's music or whatever. Find somebody and some people that you can get together and make things with that you can fail with. The idea is to fail, and hopefully in your failings you end up succeeding, whatever. But when there's always somebody who's just nope, that the person they're doing it to just is so defeated by the end of the process that the resent kicks in, or the anger, and this is why bands fall apart in front of your eyes, and especially in what I do, in a room and we're making creative decisions and everyone's working hard and emotions are running, and if somehow that just hits a boiling point, I mean, it's brutal.
It's hard to return from too.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal to watch. It's brutal to be a part of.
It's so awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super, super crazy. So yeah, empathy is always.
Yeah.
It's always the first thing. Yeah.
It's kind of a core tenet of the people that I or of what I look for in the people I want to be around.
Yeah.
100%.
And that way that whenever you are in that kind of situation, if there is like also I feel like in the studio, you yourselves probably also have to have like some methods yourselves. It's like, all right, tension's high. How about we take a break? How about we blah, blah, blah. I'm going to sit down and talk to this person. Just like, and that's part of the process that you may not want to be coming up, but like, yeah, there are
part of the job
to that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to have experience of like having been in bands and been in the studio with other producers and been like, oh man, like my friend Jared, man, what we put him through for a month straight, like he's a saint in my eyes. But yeah, I mean, you actually do that really well of kind of like managing the room. But we've talked about this when we were talking about what's a producer. A lot of times, like that's part of a producer's role is to manage the interpersonality, spectrum going on in that room and that space at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flows of energy.
Oh yeah. Typically they flow at 440.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's a good way to close this thing out. Thank you guys for doing this with me.
Thank you.
Honor and a
been
pleasure.
So much fun.
Yeah.
I guess we'll go clockwise. Aaron, where can we find you and your things?
Just my name, Aaron Newberry, at like Instagram and all that stuff. And yeah, you can find me through Cardinal Song as well, pretty easily.
You got to write your bio. We got to get that up on the website.
It's written, but yeah, I'll just get it to you.
Just like a warm ipsum up there or something.
Yeah, I got a little blurb for him, and it just says bio coming soon.
Yeah, eagerly awaited bio coming soon.
Pens and needles, bud. My name is Michael Trepagnier. I run Cardinal Song Studios here in Oklahoma City, and I mean, socials, the Cardinal Song OKC, more or less on Instagram, cardinalsongokc.com for the website. Yeah. I'm pretty, I don't do much on the socials.
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, if you want to get your stuff recorded or mixed or whatever, like come here and get sounds happening, and they will get you to where, hopefully closer to where you want to be, and you will discover the statue that is below the marble.
Exactly. That's our entire job.
Yeah. I can speak from having been here and been more of a tenant and less of an owner to say that this is a place people really enjoy making music, and that's widely accepted as a thing that, you know, Michael made happen. So thank you, Michael, for making this place.
For real.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I'm Santiago Ramones.
I'm Aaron Newberry.
I'm Michael Trepagnier.
Is there like a song that can play at the end of this? There something that either of
Dude,
you
do you
have
want us
been,
to loan
like,
you our ending, or do you want something different?
Well, no, I mean like a full track
Yeah.
to play at the end of this.
Absolutely. Aaron's got 3 songs he's working on. We'll play all 3 of them.
Yeah, whore me out.
Well, they're great songs.
I appreciate that. No, I was joking.
Right. So pick one of the songs. What's about to play?
Oh, gosh. I think I'll play the instrumental version of what I'm calling Best Coast.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's the one with AJ?
Yeah.
The
With my
song's
buddy
awesome.
AJ.
Yeah,
We made this song, and really, it's tight. Yeah.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music and produce audio. The music you're hearing now is music I made. You can listen to official releases by Santiago Ramones on Spotify, Apple Music, and the other streaming places. Or you can support me directly by buying my music on Bandcamp. I'm working on Hypothetical, my first singer-songwriter album, so if you'd like to hear that at some point, there are lots of ways to support me on my website. There's a Discord server in which we discuss deep topics from the podcast, but it's also a community of beautiful human beings. All the links to all my things are on my website, santiagoramones.com. Please take a moment to rate and review the podcast. It would mean a lot to me to hear what you have to say, and it lets others know what to expect, better than I could ever explain. I want to help the world have deeper conversations, so thank you for listening to and supporting Bit Depth.
I always end the podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong.
That's awesome.
Pretty great.
Cool.
Yeah, we did it.